What is happening, people? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back for more transfer talk. A lot of things going on in Leeds United's world right now. A lot of outgoings being mentioned. I'm sure the incomings will come soon. We'll get into that. We're going to be speaking about a subject that I put off until today because it deserved its own kind of headline in the video, which is Piroe or Bamford. You know, our favorite subject, my favorite subject. Oh, I love talking about Bamford. I can't wait to get into this. But listen, before I get into it, please like the video if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and drop your comments below. Well, I say drop your comments below, but just like the video. I'll be real with you. And listen, thank you to Carl who submitted a super thanks on the last video. Much appreciated. And shout out to all my existing members, big supporters of the channel. Love you all. If you want to become a member of the channel, the link is in the description. Afternoon to everyone, morning, noon, night, wherever you're watching from around the world. It's always cool to know where you are. It's been reduced since we've been in the championship. Just a little thing. When we was in the Premier League, I'd see countries on there that, and I'm good at geography. I hadn't even heard of some of these countries. That's how big the Premier League reach is. Now we're back in the championship. It's more England, Ireland, America, Australia, you know, all the just regular countries. But when you get some real obscure countries, that's how big the Premier League is. So, but hopefully we'll be back there soon. Is that true? No. I'm not putting that up. I'm good, man. Listen, I hope everyone's good, feeling good, smelling good. I know you guys have seen me a lot over the last few days, but that is it. That's the way it is on the transfer season, man. You see a lot of me, so I hope you appreciate it, you know, because I appreciate you guys anyway. Shane here, good to catch you live, mate. Yeah, good to see everyone here. And look, you know, somebody said yesterday, actually, it was a member of the channel, said, you know, I never get to catch you live. But during transfer season, I mean, I could be on like I'm currently on now, just after 2:30 in the afternoon. I could be on at 10 p.m., could be 12, you know, could be midnight. I don't mind when I go on. Obviously, I have to have the time, the decent time and quietness to do it. But yeah, it could be any time. So hopefully everyone gets to catch me live at some point in this transfer season. Listen, we're gonna start off with, we're gonna leave that Bamford Piroe thing until the main event. We're gonna go with some news. You know, someone said, have we got any good news? Well, I do think this is good news, people, because Leeds United have rejected a bid from Real Betis for defender Diego Llorente. And also, just to wrap this one up as well, Glen Kamara, we knew that Rennes were interested in him. Well, Leeds United have said he's not for sale. So I would go on that basis that if Glen Kamara and Leeds United, you know, if Leeds United said Glen Kamara is not for sale, that means they've obviously spoken to him before and say that he's part of the plans. And I would guess on that basis of saying he's not for sale, that he's with it to stay another year. So I guess with anyone, and that includes myself, thinking that Kamara is the one to go, it looks like he is here to stay. For me, it just means, in terms of Kamara, what does that mean then for Gruev? Is he staying? Because once again, we've got Ampadu, Kamara, Gruev. That's a lot of the samey player. I know Ampadu is clear above both of them, but what I'm saying is they're all kind of defensive midfielders. There's no goals there. There's no assists. So is someone going? Is Gruev still mooted to go? Is there still clubs interested in him? I find it very difficult to believe that Dortmund were the only one interested in him. So that'll be something to look at over the summer. But I do think one of them is going to go. Not Ampadu. I think it's probably going to be Gruev if Kamara is set to stay, because Leeds United have set their stall out. And I guess unless it's an unreal offer for Glen Kamara, he is going to be one of our midfield options. Again, I know I've said before Kamara is the most expendable, but I've said if it was just personal choice for me, if we had to keep one of the two, I would keep Gruev over Kamara. But if he's to stay and Gruev is to go, cool. But we do need different profiles in that midfield. Jim, though, saying rather Gruev to go. Okay, no worries. Yeah, all of them are non-scoring midfield. That's what I mean. It's all too samey for me. And even though Ethan Ampadu is just the more complete, better player out of the three, we do need variation in there. We need something different in there. We saw that was one of our hindrances last season. We just couldn't unlock the door from midfield, or just get that late arriving run with a goal from midfield, like we saw with so many other teams doing it. So I think we will address it. And listen, we're still only at the beginning of July, so we'll see what happens. But in terms of Diego Llorente, just to follow on with this, because I read these reports as well, but Popey's summed it up nice here. Reports in Spain say negotiations continue and suggest offer from Betis was similar to Rocco, which is 4.5 million euros, but Leeds will want more to recover some of the 20 million paid for Llorente. For me, again, with the 49ers, that's great news. I don't see Llorente staying here by any stretch of the imagination, but it's good that the 49ers aren't just accepting this kind of loss. And it's funny, you're seeing some of the replies to Popey's tweet here saying, I just sell him, get rid. If I guarantee those same people would say, if we sold him for 4.5, say, oh, what a loss. We've taken so much of a loss. It's that thing, and they want it both ways kind of thing. But I think it's good that Leeds United are saying, no, no, no. We paid nearly 20 million for him. He's still quite a valuable asset. We want a bit more than 4.5, which I think is absolutely fair. Um, so yeah, I would say keep an eye on the Diego Llorente stuff. I don't think it's going to finish there. Maybe Betis come back in. Maybe a different club will come back in. But all Leeds United is saying is, if you think you're going to get him for 4.5, that's not happening. That is not happening. Matt here saying we are not getting pushed around this time around. Few million here and there add up. And it's not just that, Matt, not just the last bit. It's the first bit you've said. We aren't being pushed around. We didn't get pushed around in the Archie Gray negotiation, even though he had a release clause. We're not getting pushed around with selling Jorginho for the first bid that comes in, like we have in previous years. No, Parag, he meant what he said when he said he's a good negotiator. And I believe that to be true. And if it just means that Diego Llorente say goes for 10, well, that's way better than the 4.5 million, isn't it? But I doubt we're going to get the 20. But if they can get anywhere near that, then kudos to them. But I don't think we're going to get anywhere near the 20. But Leeds United is saying it's not going to be for less than 5. Yeah, exactly. Direct market signal. We mean business. 100. Just think about how easy some of these plays would have gone before. I mentioned it in yesterday's video. Think about the Nantos saga of last summer. He would have been on the first thing smoking, but they said no. He's staying, and he stayed. Even with Jed Spence, they paid $1 million loan, and because Farke said it didn't work out, they terminated it. So again, these people aren't scared of spending money or losing certain deals, but they're not going to be pushed around, which I think is good. Um, Darren saying 10 million is pushing it. We were fools to pay 20. Yeah, we definitely overpaid. It's another one of those, isn't it, Matt? Darren? We overpaid for Llorente, but I think it's fair from Leeds to say, I think we could get maybe 12 back. Darren saying 10, I do agree with that, but it wouldn't surprise me if they push for 12, depending on which club comes in for him. So we'll keep an eye on Diego Llorente. Lewis. Road on punching it if he needs to pair with Llorente. He's probably still looking at Liam Cooper as well, saying, is he signing or not? Let me know. Let me know. He's put a clause in his contract saying he won't partner with him. I'm joking there. Don't spread that around. I'm joking. But yeah, listen, one thing I was supposed to mention yesterday and I've completely forgot is that Darko Gyabi is headed out on loan again for a second year run into Plymouth. I hope he has a real good season, JB. Now, whether that's to come with us to the Premier League, and yes, I said to come with us to the Premier League, I did not stutter, or whether that's to sell on, we'll see. But he's got to have a good year at Plymouth. I think there's still an avenue where he could come with us if he has a really impressive season. You think about his style of play. If he's able to put up good chance creation numbers, not too fussed on assists because he's at Plymouth, with all due respect. So if he's able to impress really good or really well, we either take him with us to the Prem or we sell him on, and we will get our 5 million back easily for a talent like JB. So good luck to him at Plymouth, and I hope he smashes it, because by all indications from what I hear behind the scenes, he's a smashing guy. Just needs regular football, but obviously he's not going to get it at this point at Leeds United. So good luck to him, and yeah. Yeah, that's his one, Matt. Let's hope Rooney doesn't ruin the lad. There's a player in JB. There's definitely a player in there. We saw it in very tiny sample sizes. You could see he's a very technical player, but he needs game experience. And I would rather him, with his kind of, level of ability, go out and play regularly at Plymouth than stay here and be a bit part player. And you know how our subs get minutes. It ain't much, is it? Shout out to Jeff listening from Cyprus. Shout out to you, man. Love that. Okay, so we'll move on from JB, but I just wanted to say big up and best of luck to him. So now let's go to the main event of the video. It was reported a couple days ago, in fact, by the Daily Mail, and it's been picked up in various other outlets, that Leeds United are looking to sell one of the two in terms of Piroe or Bamford. Both have interest from abroad, which again, I don't want to say I told you so to people that say who wants Bamford. I keep trying to tell you guys there's a buyer for absolutely every player, no matter how bad you think they are. There is a buyer for everyone. I promise you that. And agents, that's what agents are for. They will get interest in their player. And there's always that thing with Bamford where people will say, maybe we could get something out of him. Maybe he needs a fresh start. But let me just read a little bit of the summary. Two players that might not have been considered possible says this summer are Patrick Bamford and Joel Piroe, largely because Bamford is a long-serving Leeds player, too long, with a contract until 2026. Piroe, of course, only signed for Leeds last summer in a deal worth 16 million from Swansea. The duo were key players for the Whites last season, but the Mail claims that one of the two could now be offloaded. The report says that the duo are attracting interest from overseas clubs this summer, and that where that interest originates is unclear, but it perhaps is a surprise that Leeds would entertain the sale of Piroe or Bamford. I don't know where they get that last bit from in terms of a surprise, because if you look at both, just look at them both separately. The way Joel Piroe was used by Farke last year was a bit of a joke, especially with that whole argument about the Jorginho Piroe positions. It became a bit of a a joke at that time. And then if you look at Bamford, it's been time to sell Bamford. And if you'll notice, people, I have not promoted this show. This is for my core audience only. I don't want to invite any Bamford fans into this because I'm not interested in it. I take on a lot of opinions or different thoughts on this kind of thing. But for me, if you suggest that Patrick Bamford is a good striker or should be at Leeds United in big old 2024, then we got nothing to talk about. And if we're going to sell one of the two, I don't even know where to start here. I don't even know where to start because whenever I start talking about Bamford, my head always gets a little hot. But I'm going to try and keep it cool because he is here. We've seen him in the training pictures. He had his social media the social media of Leeds United put him out on a bike today. Thankfully, I've seen a few responses. Obviously, you're always going to get a few saying smash it this year, Paddy. But in general, people are saying sell, sell the guy. For me, it just makes sense. If you sell Bamford in at this stage anyway, you're getting his wages off the books, and you're freeing up, by the way, our main strikers, which for me, let me just make this clear. One is this guy, Mateo Joseph, gives him more of a license to play. And I think you get the shadow off of Joel Piroe as well. Now, listen, I could be wrong here, but I do think that there is a big old shadow with Patrick Bamford around. I think he stifles opportunities, what he does not deserve. And it just makes the other two, in terms of Mateo Joseph and especially Joel Piroe, just think, if I don't have a good game here, I'm out the team. And then Bamford's going to come back in. And no matter what, and we've seen this with previous managers, Farke isn't the only guilty party. No matter what, Bamford will play. And for me, it's just not good enough. Bamford, over the years, injury prone, goes missing when the important games come. That's not a coincidence. For me, it's a pattern. I just don't see why there's a choice here. Now, if we're going with Farke, he may want to keep Bamford, but then that will be on Farke's head. And he probably won't last long in the job, like all the others that trusted Patrick Bamford up front. And that's on him. That's not for me. But what another thing as well with Bamford, what Leeds United can avoid if they get rid of him this summer is when we get promoted people, his wages will undoubtedly go back up. And then you're going to probably be stuck with him for the year. Yes, he'll only have a year left on his deal by that time, but why not get him out now? Now, once again, I'll make it clear on Bamford's defense, he has a contract till 2026, and he is well within his rights to stay here. But what I want to see is the 49ers trying to offload him, and you will get the reports from side where he's being offered to. You'll always get that. You won't get it from the Leeds side unless the Leeds journals are tight with Bamford, which for me has always been in the back of my head, because he'll go games and games and games without goals, people. And listen, bless Phil Hay, he's no longer on the scene. But Bamford will score a goal and Phil Hay will give out the Bamford prop. And we know how people listen to the square ball, Phil Hay, and all these big influencers. Whatever they say, if they say that the sky's purple, the Leeds fans will go, oh, yeah, it is purple. So whenever he says, when Bamford scores, he'll say, I've never seen a player get this much stick or loved and hated like Bamford. He silences doubters today or so. And it's like, well, yeah, but he didn't score in like the previous 7 games, Phil. You know what I mean? There's a reason why he gets stick. Another thing is, in terms of the shadow, what I'm talking about is that Joel Piroe knows that when he's around, he has to score, otherwise he gets stick. Because his overall game isn't well rounded. We know that he is a forward attacking. He doesn't do that whole pressing thing. It looks very awkward for him. But when he misses a chance, he hears the groans. He hears, he's rubbish. Get him out of here. But when Bamford misses a chance, and we saw this when he missed one underneath the bar last year, and I'm not even, there's plenty of other instances where he's missed easy chances, but the one that stuck out for me, he was underneath the bar, puts it over, he looks back at at the turf like it tipped up when it didn't. He just came off his shin, he puts it over. But what do you hear 5 seconds later? Because he's got the love from the crowd, we hear his Bamford song. That's a heavy shadow to overcome. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff has to go. Once again, I say it again, we need to be free of Bamford for the sake of the Leeds United fans that can't see past him, that think he is the be-all, end-all. Some of these Leeds United fans look at Bamford like he is Ronaldo. I don't get it. You know what I mean? He's just not what Leeds United fans that think he is the answer to be. Also, all this myth about his hold-up. The one game that sticks out where he did do the hold-up play was Middlesbrough away, where he was fantastic in that game. But leading up to that, the guy got slower. The championship defenders that were old as well, Morrison sticks out in my mind, were beating him in a foot race. He wasn't getting in the right areas on time, where Firpo and Dan James were putting in brilliant balls. There's just so many reasons why Bamford should go for me. I know I'm not reading the chat right now because I'm trying to avoid, if anything, that there's Bamford fans in there, but I will get to you in a moment. And for me, Piroe, I think Piroe in the second year, I've already said it in the keep, sell, bench video. I think this year he gets even better. And listen, people, we're talking about Joel Piroe like he's chopped cheese here. In the year where he was used, I think, poorly. And listen, there were games where Piroe stunk. I'm not defending him in those games. And I said it in the match reactions where Joel Piroe actually stayed on for the 90 minutes and he should have been subbed off early. I've said it. But overall, he had 14 goals, 3 assists in that year. And it was a very unsettled year for him. He lost his place. We had a £16 million asset coming on some games for 3 minutes. You know what I mean? He lost the trust of Farker. The fans are always on his back anyway because he doesn't do the whole running around malarkey. He's a goal scorer. But I think if you get the senior striker out, which is Bamford, I think it lifts a whole lot of pressure off Piroe. And then him and Joseph know that if they have a good game, it's their shirt to keep. But look at even that with Mateo Joseph, people. Joseph had an amazing game against Chelsea. Absolutely brilliant. 2 goals away at Stamford Bridge. And what happens in the next game? We draw 1-1 at 12:30 kickoff against Huddersfield, local derby. Joseph is nowhere to be seen, doesn't even come on a sub, which is criminal. I mean, I hate thinking about that stuff because those are the things for me why we didn't go up. It's decisions like that were made that were just big mistakes. How do you stifle a young, talented forward like Mateo Joseph and not even give him minutes in the local derby and we're not even winning the game? That's what I'm saying. You have to get this big old shadow out of the football club and do everything you can to do it. Let the other players play. That's how I see it. Okay, Darren, he's saying, what can you do? What can you do, right? Pro asked to do all the things he's not good at. Yeah. And the thing is, we saw it though, man. It looked awkward when he was doing all that high pressing. And I've always said this, with strikers, they're there to score goals, people. For me, all that pressing and all that stuff is ancillary. The primary goal of a striker is to be a goal scorer. And Bamford, with all the big run that he had in the end, I'm not counting those games when he first came back from injury, where Farker was giving him 2-4 minutes. Again, I'm being fair. But he had a big enough run to get into double figures. And he finished the season. What did he finish with, people? Let's get this together. I always forget. He finished with 8 goals, people. He finished with 8 goals. Bamford finished with 8 goals, and for me, that's not a good enough return in that Leeds United team. It's not. It isn't at all. Yeah, exactly, Darren. Despite a bad season, Piroe still had 17 G and A, and there's context behind that, isn't there? There was times in the early in the November December period where Joel Piroe was playing as a central midfielder, all because Farker had given that 13-minute speech about why Jorginho is a striker and Piroe plays behind, which he then switches come January, where Bamford comes into the team because Piroe had lost his form, and I say that again, being fair. Bamford comes into the team. He's the 9. Jorginho plays behind, and we move much better with Jorginho playing as a 10. Because in no shape, way, or form is Jorginho a striker. But it took that kind of move for Farker then to not do it again. Because then even when Piroe came back into the team, as you remember, towards the end of the season, he played as a striker. People, but yeah, I've said it so many times, and I can't wait until we have to when we can stop talking about this man being at the football club. It's an anchor at the football club. It's holding us back. It holds us down. It's held us down for far too long, far too long. Um, but yeah, yeah, Russ here. As soon as the pressure is on, Bamford flaps faster than a bee's wing. It's not even like it's a one-off thing. This is things that happen over the years. It's happened year after year with this guy. Whether he's playing and he's costing us simple chances against Leicester to take 3 points and win a game, whether he's taking opportunities off Rodrigo, our red hot striker, to go 2-0 up against Newcastle because you want the glory. You need to get people off your back, so you want to net a goal. Selfish. We just survived Premier League relegation against Brentford. He's nowhere to be seen, even though a couple months early he's talking like he's Batistuta. If they need me against Brighton and Brentford, I'll be there. But when it comes to it, Jesse Marsh is having to talk to him and his agent to play. But he gets away with it. He gets away with murder at this football club. Phil Hay says that he's never seen a player more loved and hated. I've never seen a player get away with more than this man. We just survived relegation, by the way. And he has no part in it. Oh, I'm glad we've stayed up, and then proceeds to talk about his shoes, his lightning shoes, and saving the planet for the rest of the caption. Crazy. When we see in Somerville at the minute get stick for putting out a compilation video of him working out, looking great, by the way, and people have got a problem with that. But when Bamford's posted about his lightning shoes, everyone's like, Paddy, we'll see you next year, Paddy, Paddy. And again, another thing as well, with the Bamford thing, we get relegated, and so many of you came on here telling me that Bamford was going to score between 15 and 20 goals. Yeah, yeah, enough, man. Yeah, Matt, Matt says I'm 40 and I'm more likely to get my bus pass before Bamford leaves Leeds United. Yeah, it does feel like that. Feels like he's never going to go. But once again, let me just reiterate: I have no problem with him if he decides he wants to stay. Like I won't like it. Let me get that right. I won't like that he wants to stay, but he's well within his rights to stay as terms of his contract. No problem with that, because we should never have given him that contract. It's his prerogative if he wants to stay. Now we know in terms of overseas interests, is it more likely that Piroe would leave to go abroad than Bamford? Yes. You got to think at this stage of Bamford's career, he seems to be pretty settled. I think he's recently got married. Is he going to be looking to go abroad? There's not many English players that do go abroad, even if they're younger. I find it hard to believe that he would, unless the offer is amazing, of course. But yeah, we do need to find him a new home, please. Please. Matt here saying it's on Farker to start picking him. But yeah, the thing is, though, Matt, as long as he's here, he will be picked. And we found that not only with Barker, but with previous managers, because whenever it's going a little rough or one of our other forwards don't score, these fans, a majority of the fans, will clamour for Bamford. Oh, we miss what Bamford does in the team and all that rubbish. It's a hindrance, man. Absolutely an hindrance. But yeah, I'm just as you can see, I think I've done pretty well to talk about this again. I think long-term subscribers of mine will know how much I just don't want to speak about Bamford anymore. And it's not one of those things where I'm overly critical. I'm giving you exactly what's happened with this man. I'm not making anything up here. These are things that have happened throughout the years of him being here, and I'm just tired of talking about him, man. I don't think I've ever had a more frustrating player at the football club. I don't think so anyway. Um, yeah. Carlos saying, can't Gerard team go after Bamford? Please, we won't even demand a fee. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm with you, Guy Fawkes. Yeah, let's not revisit this topic again. Guy and everyone else, I would not be speaking about this unless the report hadn't come out. You know, I've I keep in my hope circle. I pray for it. You know, I'm not even religious, but I pray for it that he will be going this summer. Because if it's not this summer, it's probably going to be at the end of his contract. Because if I'm him, if I'm Bamford, and we go back up, and he's back on 70,000 a week, and no other team is offering me that, I'm staying too. So again, I understand it from that personal point of view, but I want to see reports that Leeds United, the 49ers, are actively looking to sell him. Otherwise, for me, that's negligence yet again to rely on this man and stifle the progress of Piroe and, more importantly, Mateo Joseph. That's where I'll leave it there. This is what we should be after. This is what we should be doing, and we can't prove it. But I feel in everything in my being that if he had played more, he's getting more than 8 league goals last season. I can't prove it, of course, because it didn't happen. You know, we're doing, you know, alternative worlds here. But you give this guy more opportunity, he will prove it to you. So there we go. And Oipa here saying, yeah, you can only blame management. They keep picking him. This is another thing in defense of Bamford. Again, if I was totally against him, I wouldn't defend him in this way. But Oipa's right. And I've said this before. It's like the Tyler Roberts situation. You can only get mad at Tyler Roberts for doing whatever it is that he did on the pitch so much. But then you have to go and look at Bielsa, and then I don't know if he was here under Marsh. Maybe he was here a little bit under Jesse Marsh. But he's more Bielsa though. Why do you keep throwing this guy on? Because he don't do nothing. Tyler Roberts was literally a striker, attacking midfielder, right midfielder, left midfielder, central midfielder, and he was good at none of those positions. But Bielsa kept putting him on. So it does come to a point where you have to start looking at Bamford and going, I'm sick of this guy, to going, why do you keep picking him when there's other people here that are better, by the way? So yeah, I'm with you there as well. So yeah, I feel like I've done that enough, and hopefully, until we get reports of him actively being moved, hopefully we don't have to speak on him too much more. Is there anything else? Okay, yeah, just for people that are going to the games or maybe planning for the games, we've already had a few being moved. That was inevitable after the fixture list was released. But our fixtures against West Brom, Sheffield Wednesday, and Burnley have been moved after being selected by Sky Sports. And of course, these won't be the only movements, but we knew that we had to anticipate a few being moved for TV. So there we are, people. There's the first 3 already. So yes, and Marcus, yeah, I have great hope for Mateo. I do as well. He's ready, man. He's ready this season. He's coming, and he was patient last year. He's obviously willing to do this again. I would believe that he's spoken to Farco about his role going forward, and he's ready to be unleashed. You know, there's no need to think about another young talented striker like a Ellis Sims. I know people bring up Ellis Sims or even a Josh Sargent, man. I mean, no. Mateo Joseph is better than Josh Sargent. And I'll put that on there right now. Josh Sargent, if we go up, would be a hindrance to us. He's got ankle injuries that Norwich fans have said have slowed him down. Why would you want to take that on when you've got Mateo Joseph in? Now, if you're selling both Piroe and Bamford, then of course you need to get in another forward. But me, I'm happy if our forwards this season are Piroe and Joseph. More than happy. I think that's more than good enough for the championship, personally. But yeah, yeah. That is it, people. That is it for the show. I think that is it. Let me just check because I didn't check the JB one yesterday. Let me just double check. Yeah, that is it, people. So that is it for the show today. Just like the video if you haven't already. I'm not too fussed about the comments on this one. I'll be real. For my own sanity. But yeah, listen, like the video, subscribe to the channel, guys. And when there's more news, I'll see you in the next one. Whether it's upload or live, just hit the notification bell so you know when I'm going live or when I've uploaded, and we'll join each other again. Guys, you've been great. See you in the next one, people. Peace out.